I realize it's because you were actually working late into the night. So thank you for being with us. What can you tell us about what is in this new material?
Well, I mean, look, the new material that's come out from the Epstein estate, and this is different, of course, than the DOJ documents that we're still waiting to get. Not a lot of new material from the Epstein estate, even though we do believe there is a lot of additional information that it's still on its way. Most of what the Epstein estate actually sent over to us in this last batch were just additional contact information, contact books that Epstein had. Almost all of it had been already released to the public. There is some new information that's being right now analyzed, but it looks like 95% of the information we already had. And so nothing new. And the concern there is that what we're waiting on is the full tranche of documents that we already have a subpoena out for. The DOJ, the White House, Donald Trump continue to cover up all of the Epstein files and documents. That's the focus. That's what we need right now. And we're going to continue to get that information out, just like we did with the birthday book that we got out just about a week ago.
And you put out a statement today, actually, about the birthday book, and I want to read from it from our audience. Last week, a bipartisan group of lawyers with the Oversight Committee traveled to New York City to independently verify the authenticity of Epstein's birthday book. Our lawyers confirmed the authenticity of the book that was given to Congress and reviewed the note written by Donald Trump, which he claimed did not exist. Can you talk about why it's important for members of the Oversight Committee to actually see this unredacted information? And did they see any additional unredacted documents at the estate that you are ready to, share now?
So first, it's really important that we get and that we verify all the documents ourselves. And so our team was in New York for a few days last week just to confirm in person a visual confirmation of the book. We saw the book. We saw the note that Donald Trump said doesn't exist or is a hoax. We saw the note. It's been confirmed. We've talked to numerous folks. You've seen the forensics evidence that has come out. I mean, people understand that that note is Donald Trump's, and he continues to lie about it. As it relates to other redactions, we were able to see some additional information. We're not able to release any of that at this moment. But every single day, we are getting more information. Every single day, we talk to more survivors who are more willing to share their stories. Every day, we're closer to meeting with Alex Acosta, which is going to happen here towards the end of the week. And we will talk to anyone who's willing to share information. Look, I'll just tell you that we just spoke, for example, with Michael Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother. He also made it very clear that he's very aware, as someone who has a note himself in that book, that Ghislaine Maxwell put that book together, that Donald Trump and others sent notes to Jeffrey Epstein. So we're not leaving a stone unturned here. We will talk to anyone at any time to put this case and build this case as the days and weeks move forward.
Congressman, what does all of that do? What does all of that mean? The gathering of the information, the birthday book, the contents of the book. I mean, what is the narrative that people should be pulling away from this? Because is it just enough that these things happened and that Jeffrey Epstein did what he did? Or what else is there? We've seen, for example, other politicians across the pond, an ambassador get pulled back and defrocked, if you will, his ambassadorial appointment taken from him. So there are people who do react to what they see and hear here. It seems to be different for the U.S., though. And how are Democrats or anyone who's really kind of in this process trying to make this as clarifying as possible for the American people? And I guess the question then becomes, to what end?
Look, I think one, obviously, I mean, that release of the book and that note with the ambassador, of course, to the United States from the UK is no longer in that position because of his comments and what he wrote and the photos that were in that birthday book. But two things are important. One is there is a story here and a narrative that is really clear, and it's grounded in truth. We know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends for 15 years. Jeffrey Epstein said so himself. We know they've been photographed at numerous events, that they were close, that a lot of this comes back and goes back to Palm Beach in Florida. We know that Alex Acosta, for whatever reason, gave Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal that no one understands. There was clear evidence against Epstein, against other powerful people that were engaged in these same activities, and for whatever reason, Our government and Alex Acosta made the decision to essentially slap Jeffrey Epstein on the wrist. We then, of course, know that he goes on to commit other crimes. And so gathering that evidence and now bringing in the survivors and the victims to share their stories, and I will add, many of these survivors are scared. They know that they are up against very powerful and influential men. We're talking about some of the richest, most powerful men in the world. And so ensuring that they have the safety and the space to tell and share their stories is important. And you're going to hear more stories in the days and weeks ahead as well. And so that lays, I think, a very clear case that there's interest and the American public wants to know more. So then the question becomes, why is the White House now trying to cover all of this up? Why are they trying to stop this investigation? Why are they trying to stop Democrats from getting subpoenas?
Focused on, and under this administration, they shrunk the staffing in that office, and they got rid of the tool that the FBI agents use to track white supremacists and militias in this country. I also want to hear what they want to say about the Epstein files. Particularly, the FBI has all of the information about the money trail, right? This guy amassed, $600 million over the course of his time in office. He purportedly got this money because of tax advice and financial advice. I mean, this guy is not, H&R Block, right? So I want to find out more about how he amassed the money and how he used the money. We know that Jeffrey Epstein, transported young girls from European country. What does the financial record say about all of that? The paper trail is what I hope members of Congress ask the FBI director about Jeffrey Epstein tomorrow.
There's also a lawsuit. I hope they ask him about this lawsuit. This is an excerpt from the legal complaint against FBI Director Patel, and it alleges that he knew summary firings were likely illegal. Pulled quote, Patel stated that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs regardless of their retirement eligibility status. He then stated that Driscoll needed to understand that the FBI tried to put the president in jail, and he has not forgotten it. He again commented that he knew the nature of the summary firings were likely illegal and that he could be sued and later deposed. I feel like that's also something the senators, the folks might need to be asking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, look, there are a lot of questions you could ask Kash Patel. I mean, he shouldn't be in this job. So number one, why are you still here is a pretty good question. Why are you still here? He has overseen a reconfiguration of the Bureau that has been very damaging. And I think, Anthony, you alluded to this, too. They have shrunk the Bureau, and they have reallocated resources away from a whole swaths of federal law enforcement apparatus that are very important, not just for threats concerning domestic violence and domestic extremism, but also malign foreign influences, financial fraud. They have this notion that, we're just going to focus on the FBI's quote-unquote core mission, which is fighting violent crime, which to them seems to be just enforcing the statutes on illegal immigration and whatever they find in the way of drugs and guns at the same time. He has overseen a strategic reorientation of this Bureau that has been quite damaging. I think we're only now going to start seeing the ramifications of that. One question I have for him, though, is just a sort of an interesting personal one to me, because we have him out here talking about all sorts of things going on with this investigation, purporting to relay all these facts. This is the same person who already had to debunk himself on the Jeffrey Epstein files earlier this year, right? That was in July, okay? This was not that long ago. So this is not someone who should be speaking publicly about anything of any complexity, in my estimation, and not someone who has amassed any sort of credibility with the public that would allow him to be offering those sorts of comments.
And I think playing the FBI director.
And by the way, who goes on Fox and Friends in the morning to announce developments in a major federal criminal investigation? It's nuts.
You do, to the extent that you want to show the one person who's watching Fox that you are doing what they want you to do or what he wants you to do. And at the end of the day, I guess in many respects, it almost doesn't matter what happens in that hearing room tomorrow. right?
Disagree. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Republicans are either going to slather him with whatever they can slather him with, while Democrats are going to chip away at the very questions that you're asking, and the country's going to sit there and go, what's the point of this?
We're not learning anything about him.
We're
We
not
knew all of these things about him when he came in, that he was ill-equipped for this.
It matters that he lies under oath. I think it matters. He lied under the oath the last time he was there. Well, you know what? We still in America.
It matters to whom?
I think it should matter to the senators on that dais. I think it matters
what
to the law, and it matters to me.
What do you think the senators on that dais are going to do when tonight only one Republican voted against Mirren?
So
I think you're missing a piece of this, and then I will kick it over to you, which is I think you're missing the reporting that Bondi and Bovee are both saying they have lost confidence in him. The fact, my point is, there are fractures.
Can I ask you a question? Has Donald Trump expressed he's lost confidence in him?
Not yet, but let me weigh in here. So I know a hit piece when I see it.
Y'all know how this movie plays, right?
So you talked about this Fox article. There was an article. It's been online for 24 hours now, and it has not one, not two, but 10 anonymous sources from the Trump administration talking about how the political hack at the FBI isn't political hacking enough, right? That's what's happening right now. And so this tells me that this guy is not long for this world. Number two, they also brought in a number two, and the number two position at the FBI, deputy director, who also has no experience running the FBI, but he was an attorney general at Missouri, I believe that's the state. This guy's going to end up running the FBI. You mark this guy. I'm telling you, this guy. He's not going to be here until he's not going to be here.
Everybody's got all this drama for tomorrow. I'm just trying to measure your expectations.
This is the way out, man. He's not going to be here come Christmas.
You're seeing a bit of pushback. It's not enough, but it's starting. And it started with the Epstein stuff, and it's also happening with Trump's remarks about political violence and whatnot. And I do think you're seeing a bit of a moment where Republicans, especially some of the Republicans that have been there a while that aren't MAGA, are saying Trump's approaching this all wrong. You've seen some Republicans say, including some governors, the governor of Utah, saying basically that the rhetoric we're seeing from the right here is divisive, and it actually makes achieving justice for Charlie Kirk harder from like a legal perspective, because they're kind of poisoning the case with all of this vitriol. And as he called them, he basically said people, and he didn't say Trump, but basically he's talking about people like Trump, calling them like outrage entrepreneurs. It's a great term, right? Like how they exist to sell hatred to the American people, right? And it's one thing for people in the media to do that. That's happened forever. But the politicians doing it's inappropriate. Trump is supposed to be everybody's president, right? Like, I honestly believe, here's the thing, and maybe this was to a fault even, but I honestly believe Obama said, I am everybody's president, even the people that didn't vote for me. And he meant it. He meant it. I think the same with Obama. I am everybody's president, even the people that voted against me, right? Who went to vote specifically because they hate me. I'm still their president. Trump does not believe that. He only thinks he's your president if you voted for him. And then he only owes something to you if you voted for him. And or if you're a billionaire, because he loves billionaires of all parties. But besides the billionaire class, you only matter to him if you voted for him. And even then, you don't matter all that much, right? Donald Trump is not everybody's president. He's president for himself, his billionaire buddies, and his loyal insiders. And that's how he's acting. And I think you're seeing people push back, saying it's ridiculous how he's calling essentially the Democratic Party, who are far more likely to be victims than the Republican Party of violence, terrorists. It's the other way around, if anything.